Never like to see damage to any of these cars, but a lot there to Bruce Williams, and we hope to see him back very soon. John Bowe and Stephen Johnson on the front row. We're back into how we were in qualifying order. Eddie Abelnica third, and Jason Gomersall starting from fourth, down to Bressington and King on the fourth row. Keith Kasulki back, along with Cam Tilley on the fifth row.
Cameron Mason started at the front yesterday, led a little bit, finished 11th. Happy birthday to his dad, Steve, the inaugural TCM champion. And Shannon O'Brien, who gave us some heroics on the final lap yesterday. A dive bomb at the outside of turn 3, locked the rear brakes and beached it in the sand. But, gee, he had a crack, and that's what we want to see.
It wouldn't be a race car driver if you didn't have a crack on the last lap.
Brilliant.
It was awesome.
Great.
It was a great picture I saw on socials last night of him coming into turn 3 backwards.
Extreme entry competition.
Yeah.
I think he won. He got all of the points. So a rolling start. So we're back to how they qualified. John Bowe scored his 47th career Touring Car Masters pole. It's the 6th time he and Stevie J have lined up side by side. Had a quick chat to JB before the start of this. He said, I don't think I can beat that Mustang. I think that car's too good around here. But he always plays it down. So let's watch. 12 laps. Should be really interesting.
Stevie J was pretty confident after changing the gearbox in that car yesterday. The Coates Hire drone cam gave us some great shots yesterday here at Ipswich, and we'll do the same again on this Super Sunday as race 2 of round number 4 of this year's Touring Car Masters in green.
JB might be right. Great start for Stephen Johnson. He'll lead the field into turn 1. 3 wide behind them. That's Adam Garland going around the outside. He dropped it, Stephen Johnson. Very wide into turn 1. He locked the inside brake. He's understeered wide. He's given up 2 spots.
Lucky to keep that car on the island. He slots back in behind Eddie Abelnica, but John Bowe leads us through turn number 2. Look at Shannon O'Brien. We saw it from the Coates Hire drone cam, slicing his way through the field there back in car number 26, and on the charge here on lap number 1.
Now Johnson's going to look down the inside of Abelnica at 3, so really good start for Eddie. He did 2 tyres in that race yesterday with a guard rubbing on the wheel. So that cost him, and he fired the car off the road at turn 1 towards the end of the race. A really good battle, though, and all of this helps John Bowe pull away in the race lead.
And Johnson now to the outside of Abelnica. We saw some brave stuff yesterday down here. Slots back in, tries to switch back, hugs the curve on the inside. He's on the better line here, but Eddie's going to make him work for it. Bits and pieces coming off the big coupe.
Great exchange between the pair of them, and Ryan Hansford and Jason Gomersall, a couple of local heroes just in behind them, trying to get their Tiranas towards the front. Really good bit of racing between them. A little bit of contact perhaps, and some debris coming off at turn 5. Otherwise, hard, clean and fast racing.
There's Mark King on the back of the number 26 car of Shannon O'Brien, one of 2 Trans Am cars in the field here today. Bowe's lead not too much at the moment, it's 1 second. Back to Abelnica, Johnson, Hansford, Gomersall and Tony Karafalowski complete your top 6.
Saw Mark King dive up the inside of that O'Brien Pontiac you talked about, Matt. The understeered wide and surrendered the position straight away. The other driver to watch will be Adam Garwood going from the back of the field. Broke the gearbox in qualifying for just the 1 lap. He's making his way forward.
Here's Alan Bougen. If you haven't watched this weekend, this guy's produced so many highlights, and there is the number 7 Tirana going off of Bob Wisely. We haven't seen much of Bob this weekend.
No, just running around towards the back of the field. Another of our Queensland contingent this weekend. An amazing 1976 tribute livery to the Ron Hodgson Motorsport. Bob Morris, John Fitzpatrick, Bathurst winner. He's still learning the ropes, like Alan Bougen, who we're just riding on board with, a former drag racer who's made the switch to circuit racing with TCM. Tell you what, Stephen Johnson's still unable to get past Eddie Abelnica, who's running 2nd. Coates Hire drone cam shows us the gap 1st to 2nd. That's a really good battle pack. As we say that, Matt, down the inside he goes.
He's going to get the power down nicely here. They'll go side by side onto the Dick Johnson straight. He stays with him. They bump panels on the exit. A little bit of smoke now from the Melbourne's cheapest cars entry. And look at the back of these guys here. Ryan Hansford on the charge in the multi-spares Tirana.
And plenty of straight line handling for car 48. Got a great run out of turn 6, but then powered away and was clear by the time they got to the start-finish line. This is a terrific battle.
So this is letting John Bowe get away into the distance. It's only gone up 7/10 of a second on that last lap. It's now Hansford in the slipstream of the big WM Waste Mustang. There's your leaderboard. Bowe, Abelnica, Johnson and Hansford. Your top 4 right on the rev limiter down there to turn 3.
Plenty of problems on that multi-spares Tirana since the opening round of the year, but this will be a pleasing run. So let's go back and look at the start. Really good for Stephen Johnson. So he got the jump on his old rival and teammate, but then went in a little bit too deep, grabbed the inside front brake and understeered wide. And to be fair, probably lucky not to go further off the road. So he dropped back to 3rd place. This is the view from Abelnica.
Rolling starts, the traditional way of Touring Car Masters starts here in Australia. Away he goes. from the second row. Had the speed, but John Bell had the line ahead. Johnson got the lead, but watch him lock the brake on the way in and slide his way almost off the track. Down in turn number 1, he'd slot back in behind the number 48 Falcon.
Great bit of driving from Abel Nika, real heads up. And that's a look at who's your tyre getting absolutely tortured on the left front. Stephen unloads the right-hand side of the WM Waste Mustang. Should say, these are perfect conditions. Still quite cool outside. I think they'll pump out some pretty quick lap times in this race. This is another look at what happened up at turn 2. So Alan Bougen with a slide. And Bob Wisely, so he was just a little shallow off the corner. Compromised his exit, just unloaded the rear of the Ron Hodgson Tirana.
Replay of the touch on the way through. It was a slight touch, wasn't it? This side of the right rear for Abel Nika. And hasn't pushed the panel in on the tyre like we saw yesterday. He set the fastest lap of the race on lap 3, 1 minute 16.73, 3/10 away from the outright record held by John Bow 12 months ago.
Back to Alan Bougen, dicing with Rusty French in the Sky Sands Mustang. Gets a good run out of turn 3. Still with that very relaxed and quite unique one-handed driving style we've seen a lot of so far this weekend.
Seems to work for him.
Yeah, it does.
Look at the turn in.
It's like he's turning into the Ipswich Shopping Centre just down the road from the racetrack rather than Queensland Raceway in a car that's 1,000 feet long. He's just so unbelievably enthusiastic about this category. They're continuing to develop this car. It started with a 289 V8, upgraded to a 302. They've been working on the suspension, the drive line, getting some weight out of it, improving the package. It's running 16th at the moment.
See how patient he has to be, laying the power down, snapping sideways at every corner here at Queensland Raceway. As we go back to the battle now between Hansford and Gomersall. Gomersall pole position at Winton. They had to repair after that big crash at Winton for the reasonably new A9X two-door Tirana, which he debuted last year in the Touring Car Masters. And Ryan Hansford can't wait for this car to be totally sorted. I've given him the curse, haven't I?
Oh, he's run wide, Matt. He's run wide. He'll come and visit you after the race. Gomersall will look to grab that.
Now, aren't we?
Oh, no, I think you're off the hook because he's still in front, the Queenslander. So he holds on. Made the point before that they'll just be so over the moon at how this car's performing now. They're engineering some reliability into it. The over-under, Gomersall looks up the inside. Good scrap between the two Tiranas. Different shaped cars, one a hatch, one the sedan. Both run the same weight, same horsepower, same general setup. Terrific car since they came into Touring Car Masters 5 or 6 years ago. They've evolved the breed, allowed the flares in, so they really are superior-looking race cars now. Hansford's under some pretty serious heat. John Bow, serious lap times out in front. Last time around a 16.3, breaks the lap record at Queensland Raceway. His gap's now out to just over 2 seconds.
Like you said before, these air conditions, it's no surprise. As down the inside goes Adam Garwood, just pinching the rears on the way through. Down the inside of the rent-a-car of Mark King, hoping to see the big Camaro back. And Sandown, hopefully this year. The Pro Camps entry is usually driven by Nigel Benson in the series. And here's Alan Bougen. That's not from Friday morning. This is just every lap.
Yeah,
There'll be about
lap.
26 replays now of this corner for Alan Bougen.
I bet he did it one-handed as well, just for fun. Good drive from Adam Garwood. So he's stormed his way through the field. Started this race in 19th and last. He's now up to 10th place, the young Tasmanian. Still a teenager. 3 Touring Car Masters race wins to his credit. All in the reverse grid trophy race affair, but he's performing really well. They've had some mechanical dramas on the Tirana all weekend. They've improved it. He's coming through the field.
Just keeping an eye on the Ryan Hansford car, guys. His times are starting to drop off by about half a second a lap. I jumped in with the team and they said, look, he hasn't said anything. We're not game to ask at the moment either for the Tirana, but they did say they started their tyre pressures a little high at the start of this race.
Thanks, Cam. Down in pit lane. Battle continues on. Abel Nika now responding to Bow's lead here. It's 2.1 seconds as Gomersall pushing the multi-spares Tirana along. He finished third in last year's V8 Ute Series. He's had a lot of experience at Queensland Raceway over the years. Same too for Jason Gomersall.
And Shannon O'Brien continues to make outlandish overtaking manoeuvres stick somehow by going around the outside at turn 1. So he's dicing for 10th place with O'Brien. A little bit further back is Jeff Fain in the number 72 IROC Camaro. He's another one of the Queensland Trans Am Series contingent. If you went with us yesterday, local cars, they're lower specification than Touring Car Masters. And that one's pointing in the wrong direction.
Whoa, and he's gone off in a big way now, same where Bob Wisely went off and Darren Bill yesterday. And see Belgian just sort of look up at the mirror as that was unfolding in front of him. To Jeff Boehner, we saw the guest appearance of the Utes. Here it is. He was off the line going into turn 2 and trying to correct the car. It was gone.
Brief moment of hesitation for Belgian. Here's a look from the outside. So he was offline, a little bit wide, had an initial slide, gathered it, and then it was pendulum around. Gee, that's high speed there too. It's not a slow corner.
No, it went on forever, didn't it?
Yeah.
You rejoin the racetrack back there towards the back of the field.
They're a different specification, as I was saying, the Trans Am cars, so they don't have the outright performance of Touring Car Masters. They're built more affordably for more entry-level style racing, but they're really cool things, driven hard by a really great group of enthusiastic locals up here. They've got quite a unique little ecosystem in motor racing up here in Queensland, and that's one of their own unique little series. We go back and look at Keith Kasuki dicing with Adam Bressington. Throttle cable broke in that car yesterday, which is what sidelined Keith, but so terrific to see him back on the road. Ryan McLeod looking after that car this weekend.
Oh, no, okay. Tony Karambolowski goes off in front of him, will lose 2 positions on that one. Great to see Kasuki back in the field. Hasn't raced since last year here at Queensland Raceway. They'll bet in some breaks in here on Fridays. Didn't see too much out of the number 52 car. Now Adam Bressington, another top 3 performance yesterday. Continues with that series lead. Hopefully we'll chalk up a race win sooner or later.
Well, people have won championships before without winning races.
That's right.
So if that's how it takes the white line racing driver to do the job, I'm sure they'll take that. Talking yesterday that car, the team thinks, will be better in the second half of the year. So Sandown, Bathurst especially, and we've seen Adam Bressington go well there in the past. The final round of the year is the Coates Hire Newcastle 500, which we cannot wait to get up to. This is a good scrap. Keith driving really, really well. He ran this car up the Noosa Hill climb last weekend, just for something different, just to get his eye back in before he turned to the racetrack. It's an amazing driver. He used to run a Falcon XB Coupe in TCM, won a couple of races and a round with that. Unfortunately, that car heavily damaged in a crash at this venue and was ultimately written off. Unfortunately, had the backup car. So jumped into the HQ GTS 350 Monaro, continues to run towards the front of the field.
Drive the Noosa Hill climb in this car. You can drive any track. That is a tight little event up there on the Sunshine Coast. Driving right down the middle of the road right now with Bressington pushing him along. This is the battle for 6th and 7th with 3 laps to go at the end of this one. Still Bow 3.6 seconds clear of Eddie Abelnica. Here he is again.
Belgian take 15 or 16.
Oh, that's his best one.
That's a big one. Right across to the inside of the road that time. That might have woken him up just a little bit. I would have said 2 hands on the wheel, maybe correcting that. No. Oh.
There's going to be a permanent onboard camera this year on that car.
Yep. Imagine that thing at Bathurst.
Yeah.
At Reed Park or McPhilloughby Park at the top of the hill.
I see him looping at the top of the, top of the cutting there. Just tuck some donuts like he did at turn 6.
No, man.
He wouldn't be able to fit around there.
No, it's longer than the track is wide.
Exactly. Going to shoehorn him back onto the track.
So lap 10 of 12, it's John Bow out in front, the margin just over 3 seconds now. Abelnica and Johnson second and third. Gomersall fifth. Keith Kasuki and Adam Bressington scrapping over 6th and 7th position. A busy year for White Line Racing, rebuilding Mark King's Camaro, all at the same time putting an enormous amount of work into the HQ that they're driving that we've well documented over the course of the last 2 rounds, and they've really improved that car.
Oh no, someone's gone off the background. I think that was Mark King that might have spun off in the background of that shot in turn 3. In the distance, nonetheless, John Bow, 2 laps from home, and King is buried down there in turn number 3.
The number of times you and I have talked about a driver, and then they've promptly fired it off the road.
We can't win this weekend.
Can we call a race without actually mentioning or referencing a driver's name?
Just go back to numbers.
They're going to form a lynch mob and come after us.
Exactly
after
right.
the race.
Lock that door.
Yeah.
King is buried. He won't get out of that one in a hurry with 2 laps to go. So Bow shutting this race down now, resetting the lap record by 1/10 of a second. 1:16.395 on lap 5. Eddie Abelnica now, as Stephen Johnson still about 1.5 seconds behind him. Hansford back in 4th. Gomersall in 5th, and Kasuki still holding down your top 6. Adam Garwood now is inside the top 10 ahead of Shannon O'Brien. Cam Tilley back in 11th. Leo Tobin in 12th. Back on board with Fast Eddie.
And Adam Garwood's drive, I'm glad you mentioned that. He said to me this morning it was all about getting into the top 10 in this race using that as a launching pad to get himself towards the front of the field, where he believes he can run for race 3 later on this afternoon. It's been a good drive from Abel Nika too, Matt. Really, really impressive. Getting in front of Stephen Johnson was critical. He then kept the Mustang behind him all race, and this will be a well-earned second place.
Fast off the trailer, wasn't it Friday during the first practice session? There's the man from Melbourne.
Focus really gritting the teeth there in the braking zone into turn 6.
Always love open face helmets.
Yeah.
Really working away at the steering wheel. He's not smiling, he's holding on.
Grimacing, almost in pain trying to drive this car. Tell you what, it's not the world's most over-engineered gear shifter in that too. No fear of breaking that component. Turn 2. They carry the brake through there and just feeding the power in. In the corner for such a long time.
Hard on the brakes down here for turn number 3. Such a long, long corner, isn't it? It goes right to the outside. Meantime, John Bow, final lap. He's heading down towards turn number 4. Switching the headlights off on the Wilson Security Tirana.
Flashing lights at the officials there. Oh, no. Bowden's broken with just a few corners to go, trying to lick the car back.
He's limping down to turn 6 as Bow goes whizzing past him. What a shame for the Comet.
I don't think he can get the car sideways at 10 k's an hour.
John Bow, though, exits the final turn. Pole position, flash of the headlights to Bob Wisely ahead, and Bow picks up another win here at Ipswich.
It's his 90th Touring Car Masters race victory. It's an extraordinary tally. Good drive, Abel Nika P2 and Johnson 3rd. Oh, final lap, Keith Kasuki. He was running in the top 6, dicing with Anna Bressington. Let's have a listen.
Box for neutrals.
Yeah.
It's fairly laboured coming out of turn 3. Never a good sound. You hear him talking back to the crew there. Pick up what he was saying in that audio. And there was Kasuki. Wow. That was a big lose down at turn number 4 for the Monaro.
So he'd actually gapped Bressington a little bit as well. In the final couple of laps, it was a pretty safe P6. But John Bow, a 90th Touring Car Masters race win, beats home Eddie Abel Nika and Stephen Johnson. Ryan Hansford 4th. Jason Gomersall, a solid top 5.
Ryan Bressington, Garwood, Karen Filosky, back to Shannon O'Brien inside the top 10. Cam Tilley holding down that 10th position. Over the page, the likes of Leo Tobin, Cam Mason, Keith Kasuki with that spin after being inside the top 10. Rusty French back to Bob Wisely. A shame for Alan Bowden and Mark King, who buried the Monaro in the gravel.